get the trade scenario going first, and there are two folks, and this is the last time I'm going to see them before the August 2nd deadline, based on the idea that we have no shows the next couple days, and I'll be off for 5 or 6 after that. So this is the last crack at it. So I'm just going to bring up two guys, and relief pitchers, whoever they may be available, we'll throw them into the mix too. I don't have one specific, but the two people that we keep an eye on as far as next Tuesday goes, one of the Nationals with Soto, of course, and then Castillo with the Reds. Where he ends up, the red right-hander, who could be a big difference maker. Those are the two guys. And the Yankees might need a relief. They probably do, based on Michael King's fractured elbow. I mean, there'd be a reliever shuffled in and out here. I'm not going to make too much. I don't know who that might be. So we'll lay low on that for a second. But as far as Soto and Castillo is concerned, they are difference makers, especially the pitcher in a short series. I do believe that Soto will be traded by August 2nd. I don't know why you'd want to keep him there for the next 2 months of the season. What, because Kansas City could offer you something in December? They're not getting Soto anyway because they're never going to be able to pay him. So the teams that need Soto right now, or teams or could use him, are in pennant races, and those teams, you know, usually are the same teams year in and year out that have money, which means the Dodgers and the Yankees and, you know, maybe the Giants and the Mets and, you know, maybe the Red Sox, Toronto. I mean, one of those, Seattle, one of those teams, which normally isn't in a pennant race, the Mariners, but one of those teams I think will make a big play for Soto. The Cardinals, people have mentioned too, so we'll keep an eye on that. But I think there'd be a good chance that he will be traded by Tuesday. We all know the Nationals will most likely be sold. I don't know why you'd want to keep him there. Nobody's going to the games anyway. It's not like they're all going to flock to Nationals Park in September to see Soto take his last swings. So from that standpoint, I think he will be gone here in a week or two. Who knows? Take your pick. Big market team with money and good prospects. People do think the Cardinals, Seattle, Toronto. I don't think the Yankees will. I think the Yankees need pitching more, and I don't know if the Dodgers will either. I would say Cardinals or Mariners or Toronto, one of those three. The second thing, of course, is Castillo. He'd be a big difference maker for anybody in postseason play. Yankees would be in play there. I would think the Dodgers would have the best chance to get him because they need a starter. I'm assuming Buehler returns, but they could use another starting pitcher. And if they were worried about Gonsolin, I mean, that performance at the All-Star game, and then, of course, last night, that would concern me. So maybe Castillo to L.A. at the end of the day. Meanwhile, the Yankees will play the Mets in 2 games here, then 2 games later on in the year at Yankee Stadium in the Subway Series. And this has got some juice this year. You know, interleague series come and go with the electricity. Sometimes you're into them, sometimes you're not. I was at the first 3 that these two ever played at Yankee Stadium, which was a highlight reel. Dave Malicki won the first game. I think the Mets won the 3rd game. That was a huge deal in New York in '97 when they played for the first time. A novelty, people really got into it. It was fun. I think sometimes it wears out its welcome, but again, they sell out the buildings for the most part. And the Yankees and Mets this year, obviously, are both good teams, which adds some drama to it. It's always a bigger deal. For those who don't know, I'll explain it. It's a much bigger deal for the Met fan than it is for the Yankee fan. The Met fan is always under the siege of Yankees and their fan base, to a little degree the Braves too, but mostly it's the Yankee, their excellence and their fan base and the 27 championships, and they're good every year and everything else. So to the Met fan, the Subway Series is much more significant than it is to a Yankee fan. Yankees want to lose to the Mets, but it's not the end of the world if they do. Met fans, you know, a little bit more, you know, feisty, a little bit more maybe blue. Well, they're both blue collar. There's a blue collar element to both. I just think that the Met fan is a little more noisy about it than a Yankee fan is, and I think they want these 2 games in the worst way. Scherzer goes tomorrow night. Yankees avoided Cole. Cole could have pitched in one of these 2 games. He pitched Saturday in Baltimore instead of Friday. I got a funny feeling that Boone and Cashman decided to keep him away from the juice of this series on the road. That's my take on it. DeGrom obviously has got another rehab start. I don't think the Mets wanted to pitch DeGrom in this series anyway, but Scherzer goes tomorrow. Montgomery and Walker tonight. Listen, fun series. They'll probably split it. It's better this way, 2-2, than it used to be, where they played 6, 3 in each park at one point. They played 2 here, 2 later in New York against at the stadium. I think that's a better way to go about it. And this will be a juicy scenario here. 48,000 the next 2 nights. There'll be a lot of electricity in the stands. Good teams. Mets got to worry about Atlanta. The Yankees Yankees don't have to worry about anything except maybe best record in the American League against Houston. Too early to be so concerned by that anyway. The Mets, of course, will go scoreboard watching day in and day out with the Braves. The Braves will come in next week or in early August for a 5-game series, and then the Mets will go down there. They'll play a lot with Atlanta in these 9 games. And those games are more significant, more meaningful as we get to them. But this is a symbolic scenario. Yankees and Mets, New York, Citi Field, a lot of who could forget last year when Lindor hit the 3 homers in September. This series has some electricity to it. It'd be fun. Probably split the 4 games. These are very good teams. I would not be shocked if these 2 teams meet again in October in a World Series. It would not surprise me. Mets with DeGrom, if he pitches, very, very good. Yankees in Houston will go right down to the wire in a 7-game war in the ALCS if we get so lucky. Wouldn't shock me. Probably won't get it. It's asking too much, but it wouldn't shock me. Yankees, Mets begin 2 games in New York at Citi Field tonight. We'll look forward to that. Lots to do today. Soto where he goes. Castillo, I think, will be traded where he goes. That will be big storylines in the sport in these next 6-7 days.